Back on TYT Sports, Francis and Zach. Football, that sport that I used to love talking about, hanging away for a couple of weeks. And then people seem to want my opinion again.
A lot happened.
What happened to me not knowing what I was talking about towards the end of my TYT Sports tenure before I moved, didn't move, before I went to Scotland.
Brief absence.
The comment section made up their own narrative as to where I went. Oh, you got fired. You left.
People were missing you though. Please bring back Jason and Francis. Don't let this weird intern kid ruin it.
But the thing is, Zach knows a lot about football as well. We have a lot of conversations. The trio, myself, Jason, and Zach talk a lot about football. I'm sure Rick is actually very knowledgeable on football as well, and he will be in the studio not too long from now to talk. But as for my opinion, briefly to kind of recap, there's a lot of things that's happened, a lot of teams strengthening. I do want to break away from what the headline is about Aguero going to Chelsea and talk about Man City really quick. Splashing out on fullbacks, necessary from Guardiola. I think they've been lacking. They've kind of hung on to as much as they could from Clichy, Zabaleta and Sagna. They needed some new blood. 50 million for Kyle Walker is asinine, but that's how much you have to pay for decent players at this point. When you go into world class, unless you're AC Milan where you just snag Bonucci, but that'll be another clip where I'm just going to question all things that happen in this world, all reality. That's all in the same. It's in the same.
Smells fishy.
Yeah, it's in the same like bracket as Xabi Alonso moving for such cheap such a cheap price to go from Real Madrid to Bayern, and Dani Alves. Sorry, getting my tongue tied here. Moving onwards, but to the substance of Manchester City signing Kyle Walker. It must be such a dagger to Tottenham fans. And I know Tottenham fans are probably already flooding the comment section saying we didn't need him anyway. He was getting paid, he was going to get overtaken in that position by Trippier, blah, blah, blah. Kyle Walker's a good defender. He's been in the team of the year for the last couple of seasons, and he is a dominant player in that position in England. And I think it's a dagger to Tottenham fans, or it should be in my opinion, the fact that you're still considered a feeder club, even though you're consistently dominating your opponents. You've not won in the last 2 seasons. You've been on the cusp, and I think if you continue to strengthen, you would have a great chance at winning. Because I think Chelsea a lot more teams are going to be aware of their strengths this year, and I think Tottenham were a team that last year were very consistent and could have caused a problem. This year, if they kept all their best players. Now it's not like losing Dele Alli or Harry Kane, but it's still a reminder that despite how much better you are,
their campaign,
you still feed your players onto other teams.
To the top clubs,
To the top clubs, even though Manchester City had a poorer season than you did last year.
And honestly, who have Tottenham signed this far?
Yeah, that's the thing. Tottenham have been silent in the transfer window, and I don't think that's as much a problem if you keep all your players. But what it shows to me as a Tottenham fan, I'm not a Tottenham fan, but if I was a Tottenham fan, I'd be like, well, why is our players choosing to go to Manchester City? Yes, they have a lot of money, right? So is Kyle Walker moving just for money? Or is he moving because he thinks his chances of winning a Premier League next season are better with Manchester City? Tottenham are in the Champions League. They are going to vow for another Premier League. They've held on to the best striker in the league in Harry Kane, or one of the best.
So one of the best young players in the world.
What is the reasoning? Like, what if you're Pochettino, surely you should be able to sell yourself as a better club for the future than Manchester City at the moment, because they haven't proven in the last 2 years that they're any better than you. Yeah, you lost second place to Arsenal 2 years ago, but you've still been there or thereabouts, and you're still building, and your team's young and dominant. So why are you selling on a player? It's probably more so the fact that Kyle Walker maybe just wanted to leave. Yeah,
or is it the case of that maybe they're like, Man City are giving us 50 million?
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to sell him not to a Premier League rival, I doubt they get anywhere close to that. Maybe they do, but you think Barcelona's going to like come up and be like, we'll give you 50 million for Kyle Walker?
No, that's
Man City, like you said, they just got the bags of cash. They can throw money at players like that.
And my only rebuttal to that would be all right, so if you're going to say that you already have someone stepping in that position, what are you going to spend the 50 million on? Like, who's going to be out there that you can get for that amount of money who you think is of a high enough quality of the likes of Kyle Walker, or if it's another position, someone that can take you to the next level? Because players of that quality are not going for 50 million. Like, that's even higher up in the transfer market these days.
World-class fullbacks are not, they're dime a dozen.
Yeah, they're not falling from the trees, I'll tell you that. That's why I'm surprised that the likes of Dani Alves maybe isn't on the radar more so. They weren't trying to get his signature. What a player that would be to get. So yeah, I'm a little sad for Tottenham in that aspect. I'm sure Tottenham fans are probably, I don't need him.
Like you say, he was a great player for Tottenham.
2 seasons running, he's been arguably the best right back in England. So
is he going to fit in that system with Guardiola?
I think so.
They play a more way more possession style.
Yeah, and
Walker's gonna have to get up and down. I know he can get up and down with the pace, but
yeah, absolutely.
His technical skills.
When you look at what Dani Alves was able to accomplish under Guardiola, that's the more of the style that I think Kyle Walker will play. I think he'll be more attacking, and I think that obviously Manchester City are going to have a much stable full-back line in order to allow him to do that.
Yeah.
Like under Barcelona, Dani Alves was able to bombard forward, no problem. And even if there was gaps, you've got Puyol and Piqué at some points back there. Holding it down, no problem.
Yeah.
But you saw what happens when you don't have a stable back line, like this season with Barcelona, when Sergio Roberto was moving forward, there was a big problem back there.
Yeah.
And then when he moved to Bayern Munich, Guardiola, he had Philipp Lahm, who was more of a intelligent player who didn't need to move forward all the time, and he could pick passes out. Guardiola says he's the most intelligent player he's ever had the chance to coach. So, good decision for me if you're a Man City fan or a Man City enthusiast. It's good.
You got the money. You got the money.
Yeah, and the next one, if it is to be true, which I really don't see happening, will not be a good decision for Manchester City if it is to happen. Chelsea, according to Sky Sports, as I read their tweet, breaking news, Chelsea have a serious and strong interest in signing Manchester City striker Sergio Aguero.
I mean, if you're Chelsea and you just missed out on Lukaku, and you're going to come out and try and strongly sign Sergio Aguero, you have him, Hazard, and Willian up front. Does that make it the most lethal trio in the Premier League? And it's just wild to me that if this is the case, the rumors with Chelsea going after Aguero, you have Lukaku going from Everton to Man United, then you'd have Aguero going from City to Chelsea. Yeah. Would that open the door, I'm assuming, for Alexi to Man City? It's just going to be like the entire top six, they're just kind of swapping around players.
I didn't think of that, but that is a very interesting point of view. My thought on this is Antonio Conte probably won't. I don't think he would try to handle this the way that Chelsea notoriously have handled transfers in the past. Like Chelsea do like to voice their interest to unsettled players. Like they've done it in the past. They did it with Torres, and it didn't work out as well for that. But Roman Abramovich, when he usually wants a player, he'll do what he can to get them. If they missed out on Lukaku, to be honest, I think Lukaku would have. Yeah, I think Lukaku would have fit into Chelsea better than I think he'll fit into Manchester United. That's just my opinion because of the way Diego Costa plays. Who, by the way, as I'll throw out this image, partying in an Atletico Madrid strip. The guy gives no fuck.
He's ready. He's not in preseason. He's still a Chelsea player, and he's just skipping preseason. He's like, I'm going partying in Atletico. Just freaking sell me already.
Like you basically have. I know it's just so hard to try and like lock him down and basically try to make him happy. On his day, he's the best striker in the Premier League. I know I said that about Kane, but I'm talking about just in terms of a player that just is able to bring you goals.
He's perfect if you want to make a Premier League striker, and that's why like. I don't understand the whole falling out. Like that's a whole nother. Well,
Mourinho fell out with him as well. He's just a very hard guy to manage. I think Diego Simeone is a no-shit manager.
Conte kind of feared what would happen in the future. He's like, I'm just going to use you while I can.
Like Diego Simeone will probably be able to hold it together for Costa a little bit. But again, like only a matter of time, he'd probably flip out on him as well. He's just that type of bipolar character. But on his day, he's as good for Chelsea as anyone.
Strong, amazing season with Chelsea this past season.
Such a great season. But as we have this graphic thrown up, these are the strikers that have been the most informed based on the goals that they've scored in the Premier League. Well, these are the most Premier League goals since August of 2014. Harry Kane, who I don't think will be leaving anytime soon. Well, I hope not after my whole rant about Tottenham holding on to their players. Aguero, 70 goals. Lukaku, just a little, quite a while back, sorry, with 53. Aguero is an interesting case. I'm going to humor this more so than I would because of the fact that Gabriel Jesus has been on the tip of everyone's tongue when it comes to Manchester City. He looks like a miniature Aguero.
Aguero's going to get more competition this year just because of his breakout last year,
And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing for Aguero to have a little bit more competition. Like, he has been the #1 striker for Manchester City, and they've brought in players to try and fit with him. The Dzeko thing didn't work, neither did Jovetic, neither did...
Balotelli worked for a little.
Balotelli, he set him up for the most famous goal in Manchester City's history. And Jason will continuously use that as a means to why he thinks Balotelli is the best striker to ever grace the Premier League. As ridiculous as that is. But maybe the fact that it's not just someone who's coming in this time to partner him. It's someone that just looks like a carbon copy of him. Like Gabriel Jesus plays very similar to him. I think Gabriel Jesus is very good from the wide area as well.
20,
right? He's very young, but when you look at him aesthetically, he looks like a little Aguero. Tiny, in stature in comparison to other people, but really strong and sturdy, low center of gravity, a nightmare to deal with if you're a big defender because he's so hard to get in front of at times because he is very strong. And he's been hotly tipped as the starting striker for Manchester City this season. I take that with a pinch of salt because it's still Aguero.
And Aguero, who everybody knows, he always somehow is fighting some sort of injury.
Yeah,
very injury.
Very good point. Also,
even if he's injured since August 2014, still scores 70 goals.
Yeah,
when probably he has not played
as many games.
Season, or like as many games as Harry Kane and those guys. That's just a testament.
No doubt.
To him.
He knows what it takes to score in the Premier League. I think he'd be a fantastic acquisition for Chelsea if they were able to pull this off. It would catapult Chelsea to be the Premier League favourites, in my opinion, if he was to go there.
Yeah.
At the moment, with things up in the air with Diego Costa, I'm not sure because Costa was such a vital player last season.
We'll have another later clip, but it seems like Chelsea really want a striker.
Yeah, of course.
And they're gonna do it. They're gonna come out and pressure the big clubs.
Because they have a loose cannon, man. That I don't even think he knows what he's doing, Diego Costa. At the moment, he's just having.
So Kyle Walker goes for 50 million. How much does Aguero go for?
That's the biggest thing.
85 million? Like Lukaku just went for 75.
I'm just done trying to decipher what is the right value from someone because you get Bonucci going for less than Kyle Walker. This is the guy that I'm going to save it for the clip. All right, I'm going to save it for the clip, the Milan clip. Come back for it. I want to talk about Bonucci so bad, but every time Zach just gives me that look as if to say, "Dude, we've got a clip." Gee, we'll talk about Milan later. All right,
let us know. Let us know. Aguero to Chelsea.